Welcome to the Melter podcast. I'm Mike Clarkson. In August 2021, the Taliban, an ultraconservative Islamist terrorist group, retook power in Afghanistan. They then proceeded to set up a government of sorts. Since then, a lot has changed, especially for women who find themselves unable to lead normal lives. They're banned from work, universities and schools, even from parks. They have to be accompanied by men when leaving the house. They're forced into marriages with men they don't know. They have to abide by a strict dress code. In short, life for women has become a kind of hellish prison. Living and working as an English language teacher in Kabul University at the time of the takeover was my guest today, Asiya Formuli. She fled to Germany along with her family after the takeover in 2021 and has since been attempting to rebuild her life and career while at the same time trying to help other women in a similar position to herself. Asiya, hi, nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's a nice, hot, sunny day here. It's the summer's finally here.
Yeah, finally summer in Germany.
Asiya, I'd like to start by going back to the events of August 2021 when the Taliban took over. Perhaps you could give us some sort of idea what that was like to actually be there at that time, both at the university and in Kabul itself.
Yeah, well, like the takeover of Taliban was something kind of like a swiftly takeover, because I remember like the night before they take over the power in Kabul, like I was talking with my colleague. We were expecting the Taliban will come, but not so soon. Maybe in a couple of months, but not so soon. So we were talking and explained like what we will do tomorrow at university. And she said that she's afraid and she has some kind of feelings that tomorrow won't be a good day. So she will not come to work. I said, I will go. Either way, I will go. And the next day I was at the university. I was just going from one faculty to another one when I got a call from my family and they told me that Taliban is coming to Kabul. And I need to leave the university as soon as possible and come home. Like it was, when I remember it, it was like a different feeling. Like I was looking around, seeing all boys and girls sitting together, talking, laughing, studying together. It was like the kind of happiness which I haven't experienced after that day. It was kind of sad, painful, bitter when I remember it.
But it sounds as if knowing that the Taliban were going to come, you knew straight away that that would be problematic for you as a woman.
Yeah, it was like that. As I told you, like it was unexpected. Like when they came, it was totally unexpected because we expected to happen maybe like in October or November, but not in August.
Okay.
And we already knew that, like, how is Taliban? We knew that they are like totally against women and girls. That's why it was like more dreadful and kind of scary for us as a woman there, working woman.
And so was it clear that you wouldn't be able to continue in your work at the university or did that come later?
Like at the beginning, nothing was clear. Like we thought maybe like we won't be allowed to work or maybe even like they will come to our doors and take us to the prison. It was like nothing was clear at the beginning. Like everyone was just rushing to find a way to go home on that day. Like it was not possible to find a taxi because everyone just got out of their work and they just wanted to go home. Like I had to go by foot for a long, like almost an hour until I arrived home. And some of my colleagues, like it was all around 10 or 11 a.m. And my colleagues arrived almost in the evening at home, like because of all these crowded and traffics.
Wow. So the whole city was in uproar. The whole thing was a disaster, was it, from the beginning?
Yeah, it was like from the beginning when like it was announced that the Taliban is coming to Kabul. It was like everyone was crowded, a rush. Everyone was trying to save their life.
Yeah, of course. So from that moment until you actually came to the West, to Germany, what actually happened in that interim period?
Well, in that period, actually, I was in Kabul when Taliban came for 2 more days, and I left 3rd days. But on those 2 days, it was like we didn't go out. Actually, like no one was daring to go out. It was just boys going out, no women on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to leave the country. We left our home like during the night, at the middle of the night. It was around 1 a.m., I think, that we left our home and we went to the airport. And then after that, like I have close contact with everyone there, like with my family members, relatives, almost like all of my colleagues and some of my students who are still there. And like every day it's getting worse and worse. At the beginning, like for a couple of months, schools and universities were closed.
Yeah.
But they started back again for a semester. Again, there was university, but like boys and girls classes were separate, but there was university.
Yeah.
But then after some months, they closed it at all. And like every day they are bringing new restrictions and new rules for the people, especially for women. For example, like until last year, until like almost 6 months ago, like there were some language courses for girls to go, things like some private schools for girls, but now they banned that one also. Like every day there is more restrictions. And also like at the beginning, people who were working with United Nations or with any organization which was like an international NGO, like women were allowed to work there, sometimes online or sometimes just on the side. But later on now, that's also banned. Now, like women can only work in healthcare fields as doctors or nurses or these things. But for example, if someone is a doctor, she is allowed to only talk with female patients, no male patients allowed. Mm-hmm. Or if a female is sick, she cannot go to a doctor who is male. It should be female.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Is there, in your view, then, any hope of change, Asila, or is it going to continue to be terrible for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, to be honest, at the beginning, we thought it's like some kind of temporary situation.
Yeah.
Maybe with the help of other countries, the Taliban will go back, or maybe it gets a little better if there is some kind of push from other countries.
Yeah.
But now it seems like no one cares. It seems like they let Taliban do whatever they want, and no one cares. Not the other countries. I know, like currently there are many other stuffs going on in the whole world. That's true, but we shouldn't forget a country where like half of its population is imprisoned in their houses. Exactly. They are not allowed to do their basic human rights. Yeah. They're not allowed to go to schools, which is something, it doesn't happen in other countries. It's just in Afghanistan that girls are not allowed to go to school. Just until 6th grade, which is nothing, I think.
Okay, well, we'll come on a bit later in the interview to talk about what we can do here in the West, in Germany, to try and help, to try and bring back maybe people's attention to the tragic situation that's happening in Afghanistan. Can I just ask you one thing? In the recent protests in Iran, for example, one of the things that was reported was that for the first time, men were actually standing up and showing some support for women too. Is there any hope? Is there any sign of that in Afghanistan or not?
Well, until now, like it's just females who are protesting. It's just women who are protesting for their rights and for their freedom. Like most of the time, like until now, it didn't happen. And I don't think that it will happen in the future, because it's like, I'm sure like there are many men who want to support these kind of protests, but they're just scared of their life because they have to stay in Afghanistan. They're living there. And if they protest, it's easier for Taliban to just arrest them.
How easy is it for women and girls to leave and try to come to the West or to a safe country?
Well, it's quite difficult. Like those who had before Taliban had some kind of close contact with other countries, for example, they have worked with them or they have studied in these countries and went back, they can find some ways, and some of them have already found some ways and left the country. But for those who just had a normal life, studying or just working with a normal organizations, like it's kind of almost difficult. Right now, the only ways that some people are trying to learn a new language, learn English, and through this one, they are just trying to apply for some scholarships in other countries. It's still a little bit difficult because until they get acceptance, they have to go to the second country, as for example, to Iran or Pakistan for their interviews, for their visas, and all these process. But it's the only way right now, which is not easy because like in a country which is people are not allowed to learn English because there is no schools, there's no language schools. How are they going to learn in a level to have a good score in TOEFL test or in Cambridge test or maybe IELTS? It's kind of difficult.
Yeah. Let's move on to you then, Asiya. You've obviously been in Germany, in Starnberg, right? Near Starnberg?
Yeah.
Since 2021. How is it for you? How is it for you? As far as your private life and your career, the whole thing. How is it in Germany for you?
Yeah, for me, like at the beginning, it was kind of difficult because of the language, like the language barriers, these things. But I have learned the language, and I try to find a work based on what I have studied in Afghanistan. Well, here came for me a big problem because like I have studied language and literature in Afghanistan as a bachelor. And as a master's degree, I have studied TESOL, which is also related to education. But in Germany, like you cannot practice any job which is related to education if you haven't studied in Germany or another European country. So I find it really hard to start teaching in a school.
So are you saying that your qualifications from Afghanistan are not recognized at all by the...
It is recognized. For example, it's recognized as a master's degree.
Sure, okay.
If I want to apply in a school, then it's like I don't receive an answer, or it's just a direct rejection.
Okay.
That's why, like right now, I'm working as a linguist, but it's as an English language linguist, and I'm not working in Bayern. I'm just working in other states of Germany.
So it's more difficult actually in Bavaria than it is in other parts of Germany, or?
It's more difficult sometimes for me, like for someone who studied education. In this field, it's kind of different and a little bit harder. And in Starnberg, it's almost impossible because it's very near to Munich. You can find some jobs in Munich, but in Starnberg itself, like there isn't many companies or NGOs to hire other people, especially if they are not from their own nationality. That's what I have experienced.
So what is your experience then teaching English? Because you do obviously some teaching, you said. How is that as an Afghan woman teaching English here in Germany?
Well, in Germany, like I haven't taught English at all.
Okay.
I wanted to teach, but I haven't taught. Like, and I taught English in Afghanistan.
Okay. Right, okay. Let's move on then, Asiya, to one of the organizations that you're involved with, which is attempting to help other women in a similar position to yourself. It's called Victory Afghanistan, right? It's a website, victoryafghanistan.org. Tell us something about the organization.
Well, this organization, it was initiated by some girls in USA. They have created this whole community and this initiative to connect people of here with those girls in Afghanistan who want to learn English. The focus is all in English language. What they do is they are looking for volunteers who are willing to teach at least 2 hours per week. That's at least. You can, of course, if someone is willing, they can teach extra hours. Like they are looking for volunteers because they don't have the budget to hire teachers. Like they're looking for some volunteers around the world. If you're a native speaker, or if you like, the criteria is that you should be a native speaker, or you should have the experience of teaching language. And they have different classes, starting from the beginner, which is like the basic beginner for ABC, until advanced classes. Through these classes, they just want girls to learn English, and then they are preparing these students for the TOEFL and IELTS as advanced classes, so they can apply for some scholarships or maybe maybe for some seminars, some fellowships or whatever, to just help them find a way to get out of Afghanistan, or to help them like in the future if the situations change, so they should be educated enough to continue their life.
So it is possible, if you are a woman in Afghanistan, it is possible to study, is it? You have the ability online to be able to do the courses, do you?
Yeah, it's like right now in Afghanistan, everyone can study online. If it's online, there is no restrictions. That's a good thing. Like until now, Taliban haven't brought any kind of restriction in the usage of internet. There is nothing. Like you can just attend any online class, or if you have any, if like someone is having the ability or the financial help to just attend an online class in the USA or in Germany, they can do it. Still, there are some problems with the internet connection, because the internet connection is very weak there, but still they can do something.
Okay. So it's not just Germany that Victory Afghanistan operates in. There are other European or Western countries involved?
Well, it's initially in USA. But like there are many people from different countries. Like we have people from India, from USA, from Canada, from some European countries, anyone from anywhere, like those who know English. It's just a help.
Right. What do you see as the long term then for this, Asiya? I mean, do you have any hope that things are going to improve at any time, that women will once again be able to study as normal and teach?
I don't know, like at the beginning, there was like after some months, there were some kind of hopes, and there were some kind of promises that they will open the school doors, or they will start, or they will let the girls study and work. But like every day, there are more restrictions. It's like now I'm kind of hopeless, because like just last year, like they promised that they will start the schools until 10th grade or until 11th grade. But then the beginning of the school year in Afghanistan is March. But then they just started the schools for the boys, not girls. I don't see a hope of improvement in Afghanistan, as long as like the other countries, the United Nations and these other NGOs do not interfere, it will remain the same.
You said, I mean, there are lots of other conflicts going on in the world, and obviously the West's attention has been drawn away from Afghanistan, but it's a tragic situation. What do you think the West should be doing more to help girls and women in Afghanistan?
Yeah, like the first thing is that there should be some kind of restrictions set on Afghanistan. For example, it's still like the UN or UNWP, these countries, they are helping Afghanistan in some ways, like financially. Like they can just, I mean, like they have to talk with the Taliban like a little bit more seriously, because Taliban they need these help of other countries. They need these financial help. But like other countries can have some kind of talks they should provide them financial helps, but these Taliban also should do some other stuffs instead of that one. They should at least let girls study the school. If they are not studying the university, that's fine, at least until 12th grade, which is like, I think is the education is it's a basic right for everyone. Yeah. Like I can't imagine the future of a country where the half of its population is illiterate. What will happen in 10 years? What will happen in 20 years? It's like a bunch of illiterate women who are becoming mothers, and they don't know how to help their children. They don't know how to raise their children because there's no opportunity to learn these things.
People who are watching or listening to this podcast, is there anything that they can do to help?
Well, I think there are some ways, like as normal people living in the West, as normal people living outside of the country, we can support Afghan women in different ways. Like the first thing, like I think like the easiest one is like we can raise awareness about Afghanistan situation, about the situation of women and female in Afghanistan. It's easy, like we can share something about the situation in our social media. We can share it in Twitter or either Facebook or whatever we have. Like, that's the easiest, I think, the easiest thing that everyone can do it. Like most of the people in the West have access to social media.
Yeah.
And if we just share a small paragraph mentioning about what's going on in Afghanistan, what these females are going through in Afghanistan, that's a big help. Yeah. That's the first thing. The second thing is like to just educate Afghan girls is what as I already mentioned, is to volunteer. Volunteer in educating these people. Like as I mentioned, one is the Victoria Afghanistan, which is like the focus is totally on English.
Yeah.
But I have heard about other organizations and initiatives who are looking for volunteers to educate Afghan girls, not just the language, but other education and other stuff. One is like Learn Afghanistan.
Okay.
Is
that a website or what is that?
It's a website. It's a website which is helping Afghan girls learn. Sure. And another one is Code to Inspire. Code to Inspire is also a kind of initiative which was organized by some women and men outside of Afghanistan, and they are trying to educate Afghan girls in Afghanistan, and they are trying to provide, for example, some financial help to have access to internet or to have access to smartphones or a laptop, and then they can just attend the classes. These are the two things which I think we can help through these tools.
Excellent. Well, I will put up links to those sites that you have mentioned here, also on our YouTube channel. Anything else that you'd like to say about the situation in Afghanistan that you think people here should know about?
Well, like there are many things to say, but we just need to think like we just need to imagine what these women are going through in Afghanistan. Yeah. And we should think like, can we do such a life? Can we live like that?
Yes.
Just for a day, to be restricted, even not because they're not allowed to go outside without a female accompany, a female relative, a male relative, sorry. So can you imagine such a life that you're not allowed to go to a park? It's a simple thing, a park, but females are not allowed to go there. It's like kind of things which if we in Germany, for example, me in Germany, I have the freedom to go anywhere, to do anything as long as I'm not hurting someone else. But I'm still like, I'm not happy here, to be honest. Although like I'm free, but like every day and every night, when I think of the people in Afghanistan, when I think of their situation, like I'm not happy here. Sure. And I'm sure like most of Afghan people who are evacuated or who already live in other countries, although they are like living peacefully, they have their jobs, they have their houses, they have their freedom, but still like our thoughts are there about Afghan people. That's why I just expect the same thing from other people, to just imagine being in such a country, being a female in such a country. How is it? It's like kind of a hell.
Absolutely, absolutely. Fully understandable. Asiya, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. That's been really interesting. And hopefully, Asiya, I think I can speak for everybody watching and listening to this. We hope that the situation improves as quickly as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much from you. Like I hope like this podcast is a way that I could raise awareness about the situation of Afghanistan, and I hope through this podcast, I could find some people to help Afghan people and Afghan women there. And thank you so much.
Well, yeah, as I said, I will put in as many links as I can on the YouTube page. So again, thank you so much, Asiya.
Of course.
Thank you, and the best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good time.